It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Western Illinois Associate Head Women's Basketball Coach, Coach Dan Chapla. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Brandon. Good to be with you.
That's good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get started in coaching in college women's basketball?
You know what? I played college basketball, was a pretty good player, was a point guard. And I think more than anything, I played for two college coaches who really influenced me. And, when I was thinking about what to do, I was getting a degree in political science and I love studying that, but I wasn't really sure what to do with that. But had two coaches, two good role models, I guess. And I think they kind of influenced me and, to think that something might be a great life endeavor. And that's kind of how I got into it.
What was it like going to Ottawa and being the point guard?
Awesome experience. Ottawa's a small college, NAI school, about 40 miles southwest of Kansas City. I grew up in the Denver area, so it was a little far away from home. So it's just getting out on my own and getting to meet a whole totally new area. But it was a great experience. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
What was that feeling like of getting to put on that Ottawa jersey?
Well, there's a lot of tradition when I went there, and it's continued as well. They've had a very successful program, especially in the last couple of years. And so it was just I wanted to be a college basketball player. I didn't necessarily care where. I had a couple of opportunities. A couple other schools recruited me, but Ottawa was a good fit, and I'm really happy that I chose there.
Of course, during your time at Ottawa, did you ever know that you were going to obviously come back and become the coach?
Well, I was an assistant there, so no, I didn't think so. I didn't know exactly what I was going to do, obviously, when I chose there. But it was a great opportunity for me to go back, and I worked for a couple of years for Andy Carrier, who I played for, and I got to experience that side of it. And it was a great place to start, like a lot of players do. They end up being kind of a graduate assistant type where they went to school, and that's what I did. But that enabled me to go to some other places, and so it was a good experience for me.
What was your time like, obviously, at your alma mater as the assistant coach?
It was great. The hardest thing as a young assistant, I think, is I still had played with a couple of the players, and so I think that's always a tough transition to go from being a teammate to a coach, even if you're an assistant. I mean, there's lines you can't cross, and I think that was difficult. But then learning from the head coach who I played for and kind of seeing how things were done behind the scenes, things that you don't realize as when you're playing. So it was a good experience to see how he did it, other than just the stuff that I knew that he did on the floor, but a lot of the other things. So yeah, it's very valuable.
How was it like, obviously, in 2014 when you were inducted into the Ottawa Hall of Fame as a player?
Great night. One of the best nights for me and my family. Very proud of that, because there has been some great players that have played there. And to be quite honest with you, there's probably a lot of other players who've had better stats. I was very fortunate. I played on a really good team, which included several other good players. And we happened to be the first team to go to the national tournament in about 50 years. And so that was just a really fun experience and fun time for me. But again, I think I benefited that personally because I had really good teammates. And so that helped me as well.
Of course, during your time as a coach, what was that like, obviously, seeing your name in the Hall of Fame?
It's been fun. I've played there two times, taken my women's team when I was the head coach at William Woods, and they went back and looked at the picture and made fun of me, of course, because I had a lot more hair. But it's nice knowing that I'll always be in the Hall of Fame there, and surrounded by some other really good small college athletes. So it's neat.
What were some of your accomplishments as the head coach there at Ottawa?
Well, I was just the assistant coach, but we won KCAC conference championship my second year there. I think more than anything, than what I value from that time is some of the players that I got to meet, and still stay in contact with. In fact, one of the players that I coached there has a daughter that we're looking at in San Antonio, and so still stay in touch with him. And I think more than anything, that's what I cherish from those times.
How was that national championship in 2008? Since obviously the 91.
Are you referring to where I was at William Woods, getting to the national tournament at William Woods? Yeah, it was that was an awesome experience too. Being the head coach at William Woods, when we kind of similar situation to my playing. It had been a long time since William Woods had been to the national tournament, and so I came in, had some great players, and was able to take them back in my first year there at William Woods. And then that really kind of got us going for the next, I was there 11 years total, but that kind of got us going and on the map a little bit to really get better players. But that first trip there was awesome for me in terms of being able to coach that group there.
Of course, what was that like as the head coach at William Woods?
Great experience. I loved William Woods. I was there for 11 years. Probably did everything that I wanted to in terms of accomplishing. We won a lot of games, but more importantly, we had a lot of really good, high quality and character players, young women that came through our program that I was able to, for the most part, we see them come as freshmen, develop and continue to get better in our program. And that's really where it starts is having good players. And I hope I helped them a little bit along the way. And left there, this is my third year at Western Illinois, left there knowing that I think I left that program better than when I found it. And I think that's all you can do when you're taking a new job. And I certainly feel very proud of what we were able to accomplish at William Woods.
Of course, at William Woods, what was that like as being head coach and then obviously going to Western Illinois where you're now the associate head coach?
Well, it was a big change in terms of going from the NAI level to the NCAA Division I level. I tell people I've known JD Gravina for several years prior to that. And so I'd always stayed in contact with him. We played each other once a year at William Woods. He would pay me a little bit to come up here and play him. So I knew him. I knew Seth Minner, the previous coach. And so it was just an opportunity for me to see this level. It was also an opportunity for me to kind of step back. I'd been a head coach at that point for 17 years, 6 years at Culver Stockton, and then 11 years at William Woods. And so it was a chance for me to step back, watch how somebody else does it. JD's had a lot of success here, been a great young coach, and I've enjoyed getting to watch him and how he runs his program and adding some advice, some things that I've been through. He certainly has allowed me to do that. And so it's been a lot of fun more than anything in the last 3 years.
Of course, what was that big transition like from obviously, as you said, you were a head coach for over 11 years and then obviously going to become an associate head coach?
JD made it easy because he is a type of coach that values all of his coaches' opinions and certainly asks us all the time. At the end of the day, it's his program. He has to make the decisions. He is the head coach, the head recruiter. I mean, he's in charge of this program. So my job is just to try to help him. I've been there before. I know how he feels on game day. I know that I don't know everything. And I think that's the most important thing that any assistant coach can know. and it takes a while maybe because as a young coach, you tend to think, what you would do in that situation. I don't do that. I try to pick my spots, help him when I can, and don't try to overload him with things either. I think that's something. I don't throw 1,000 different things at him. If I have a suggestion, I've thought about it and I talk to him. And if he takes it, great. And if he doesn't, that's okay too. That's part of it. But I think more than anything, just knowing when I went to work for him, I knew how he was and I knew how he'd be great to work for. And so that alone made it very easy, I guess, in terms of the transition.
What are some of the game day traditions that the Leathernecks women's basketball program has?
Probably nothing unique, to be quite honest with you. We always try to have a little bit of a shoot around. JD's pretty relaxed in terms of I think he kind of likes to just relax a little bit on game day. I understand why, because we know it's going to be pretty stressful that evening. So nothing out of the ordinary in terms of traditions, but just trying to get ready and let our kids be focused for the game.
Of course, who are some of the teams that you face in your conference?
Well, the Summit League's a great mid-major conference. I mean, made up of two schools, both the South Dakota, University of South Dakota and South Dakota State, North Dakota State, University of Denver. It's probably our farthest trip. We also go to Oral Roberts down in Tulsa. So St. Thomas out of Minneapolis just joined our league. So 10 different teams in our league, very, very competitive night in and night out.
Of course, what is that like, obviously getting to play against South Dakota and North Dakota, but also getting to play against Tulsa?
Awesome. It's both South Dakota schools since I've been here have really been number one and number two. They're both really good programs. They beat Power 5 schools regularly, it seems like, and so they're as good as it gets in terms at the mid-major level. And I think the fun part for me is the travel, getting to see different parts of the country that I have never seen. And so it's fun being on the road with our players and a good experience coming from a small college that I didn't get to travel as much, but being here we do. And that's something that I've enjoyed to some extent, but we do have some long road trips as well. But I've tried to look forward because I have learned and experienced in different areas.
Of course, what does the recruitment process look like for those women prospective athletes looking to play college women's basketball?
It starts early, and the one thing about this level, the earlier the Division I, we really start looking at 3-4 years out. So most of our recruiting is done in the summer now. I think that's changed in the last 20 years with AAU, but a lot of huge tournaments that we hit in the summer. We really do recruit regionally for the most part. You draw a circle, 3 or 4 states. Most of our kids fit into that. So we really are busy in the month of July. We hit a lot of the major tournaments. But really, as an NAI coach, I probably got out more during the year than we do now. And that's one thing I love about JD and his philosophy. We like to focus on our current team during our year and then really try to focus on the future teams when we're not playing, which is, and most schools are like that now anyways, and most of it's done in the summer.
Of course, during the summer, what are some of the things that you look at in those prospective student athletes?
Well, do they fit? Do they fit with our system? Are they a high character young woman? Do they have athleticism to play here? Do they have the skill? Hopefully, we're trying to find kids with all 3 of those. And it's like anything; it's very competitive. So just trying to find out the fit. If kids have interest in you and just going from there, it's a painstaking process, but it's probably the most important thing that we do as well.
What does the official visit look like on the Leathernecks side?
JD does a great job with that. We pretty much all the coaches tend to be there. We greet and meet the players when they arrive on campus. We take them for a tour. We do a great job of connecting them with our players, because we think our players, at the end of the day, incoming prospective players are going to choose Western Illinois because of the kids that are in our program. And so I think we lean on them, and they sell our program probably as good or better than what the coaching staff does. But JD does a great job with that too, and he's very personable and tells them a lot of things about the history of the school, and certainly get to know them. And we already know the kids that we bring on campus, but get to know them a little bit better too. So he does a great job with that.
Of course, as a coach, what is that like, obviously getting to see them put on that purple leather neck jersey?
I think just a lot of pride. All the good players, again, that have come through Western Illinois. And I think it's just, for me, it's just to coach at the Division I level. I mean, I consider myself very lucky, love what I do, just very fortunate that I'm here. And I certainly don't take that for granted and look forward to it every day.
What advice would you give those prospective student athletes that are in high school looking to play college women's basketball?
Well, I think there's nothing wrong with reaching out to coaches. I get 15 emails a day. Our whole staff does, of kids who are sending us an introductory email or maybe some video. I think most kids now know that probably playing on a travel team on the AAU circuit. We also get contacted a lot by high school coaches as well. We try to always go through them as well as our summer coach. So, just getting their name out there, and like anything else, if they're good enough, we'll find them. But doesn't, we get a lot of emails, and that doesn't hurt either.
Of course, what advice would you give those college women basketball players that are playing now looking to go on to the WNBA level or even Athletes Unlimited?
Oh, I think similar to, being recruited at the college level, get your name out. Hopefully if you're good enough, they will find you. There are a lot of now combines for women who may not make it to the WNBA, because that's still rare, obviously, and difficult to do percentage wise. But there's a lot of women who play overseas, and certainly you have to have a pretty good career at the college level to get noticed. But there are a lot more things than there was 20 years ago, and so just standing out, getting your name out there, always helps.
What advice would you give those future college coaches looking to get started in coaching women's basketball?
Networking, number one key. And I tell young coaches all the time. I mean, the more coaches you can meet, the better you're gonna help yourself. So even if you didn't play college basketball, maybe nothing wrong with being a student assistant. A lot of people get into the business that way, just by maybe being a practice player. We have a couple practice players on our team now. But the more coaches you can meet, the more connections, the better chances you will have when a job does come open. It's very competitive, and there's a lot more coaches than the demand. So the more people you know, the better off you're going to be.
That's wonderful advice. Where can my listeners find you on social media, along with the Western Illinois basketball player?
I am on Twitter, certainly on our website, and so I believe my Twitter is dchap48, and they can find me there, along with JD and our entire staff, and certainly all of our website and things like that. So you bet.
Thank you again, Coach Dan Chapla, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
All right, Brandon, best of luck to you. Thank you.
You too.
All right.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.